Thank you very much for everybody to come here, and thank you very much for Chairperson. And as introduced, I'm a gynecologist from Japan. I used to work in a hospital, a Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, National Hospital Organization for long years. Here, I give some sex therapy as well as ordinary gynecology and obstetrician. And I retired 5 years ago. And before several years that time, I started to see sexually abused children who come from a child guidance center. And the number is more and more increased then, so I talk about it. And also, after I retired the hospital, I launched the NPO Chiba Support Center for Sexual Assault, named CSEPI, so I talk about it a little bit. And what is child sexual abuse? Child sexual abuse is a universal problem with grave lifelong outcome. This sentence is from the very fascinating paper from India. The author is same et al. And it's a very nice review paper. So she also talked about the WHO definition of child sexual abuse as the involvement of a child in sexual activity that he or she doesn't fully comprehend and is unable to give informed consent to, or for which the child is not developmentally prepared, or else that violates the laws or social taboos of society. And also the author mentioned about the determination, terminology is expand about it. So definition of child sexual abuse is expanded as this slide. I took from the terminology of UNICEF. It says that child sexual abuse is all forms of sexual exploitation and sexual abuse. And in 1989, it includes inducement or coercion of a child to engage in unlawful sexual activity, for instance, prostitution and pornography performance, etc. In 2007, it includes acts which are committed abroad are destructive to children's health and psychosocial development. I think it's too late to include it. And 2011, a thorough definition of the offense, coercion, sexual abuse, and include in that definition that the fact of causing a child to witness sexual activities or sexual abuse, engaging in sexual activities with a child, and so on. But today I talk about the child sexual abuse is rather very narrow meanings. It's dependent on Japanese legislation of what's set up in 2000. It's Act on Prevention, etc., of child abuse. That the word of child abuse is at the first time appears in Japan legislation. The term child abuse as used in this act means following acts committed by a custodian. Maybe it mostly included the parents and like someone who have responsible to take care of them. And it's against a child under 18 of age, and that's why because of that legislation, notification of a child, a person who had detected a child who appeared to have suffered child abuse, promptly give notification to the municipality or the welfare office or Child Guidance Center. And the role of Child Guidance Center on sexually abused children in Japan is as follows. And afterward, it's a little bit apart from child abuse, sub-child sexual abuse. Our sexual criminal law changed finally last year, 2017. It improved several things, but it's not realized, but I highlighted the yellow part. The new sentences are added. New crime against a custodian who abused children under 18 years old of age. That's why we have to change something to have child abuse, sexual abuse children. And almost the same definition, child abuse, global lifetime prevalence of child maltreatment of WHO is like this slide. In this slide, among child abuse, psychological abuse is 36% at the top, but girls' sexual abuse is 18%, and also boys' sexual abuse is 8%. This is the number of group of abused children recognized by police in Japan. The word is almost the same like WHO, and in this slide, physical abuse is the top, and the next is sexual abuse. Though the number is a little bit very slowly increased, but the ratio is almost the same. So I think that to the police, most severe abuse is physical, and then next is sexual abuse. And for police, psychological abuse is not a big meaning. This is almost the same categorized, and the number of group of abused children recognized to a child guidance center in Japan. In this slide, total number is enormously increased in these 10 years. But the ratio is a little bit changed. It's very close to WHO's one, but in this slide, sexual abuse is has a very small. It's maybe 2 or 3% among all child abuse. But because the total number of abused children to Child Guidance Center recognized it increased enormously. Also, the sexual abuse children is increasing. And then this is my experience. The number of sexually abused children came to our hospital from Child Guidance Center of Chiba Prefecture is as this graph. And in 2012, it's still very low, but after 2013, it increased, and I think it increased slowly. And the last part, 150, is till 2017. Afterwards, this year, it's still half a year, but it's almost the same number as last year, so it's increasing, I think. And among 150 children I saw, number of children of each age when they came to the hospital from Child Guidance Center is as this slide. And that because the Child Guidance Center take care of baby to 80 years old, so age of 19 is the exception. And among them, the teens are almost at top, but there are many small children are included. This is the graph is the duration of each child suffering from sexual abuse till it was appeared. And I think to show that this slide shows that many children suffered from sexual abuse for many years. And at the beginning of suffering, it's just a very light behavior, just like touch breast, touch inside the clothes, on get into bathtub together, like that. But because during these years, it definitely increased at very to sexual intercourse. So that's why Child Guidance Center protects them if the performance is very right. So the variant of child sexual abuse is as this slide. And among them, the variant, step further and further, real further is almost the same number and the top. And next, follow the brothers. Mostly it's elder brothers, but some younger brothers are suffering. And next, grandfather and a family member like that. Child sexual abuse notification rules, the Child Guidance Center is as this table. I compared our hospital and nationwide survey of Child Guidance Center. Almost the same tendency. The school is the top, and the next follow the family member. But the friend or acquaintance is first the victim themselves talk them, and then go to Child Guidance Center or police. The bottom is the victims themselves go to the Child Guidance Center and the hospital. I think they first disclose child abuse to the mother or family, but they neglect it. That's why they go straight to the Child Guidance Center. And we have to, we are medical doctors, so we have to medical examinations for suspected sexual abuse girl. It's have a report and medical, and so we have to do medical examination and test to STI. And the result of medical examination as follows. Among those children, 35% of children we announced a vaginal insert. 68 children who are announced vaginal center, we recognize some cleft or restoration. I think that it's too much, but those findings are ambiguous, I think. And 59 cases, 87% were seen smooth, non-painful examination to vaginal. Non-painful dilatation was seen in the vaginal by smallest speculum, by the findings suggest, I think, experience of vaginal infiltration, but it's not a definite findings. Among 20 children who didn't talk about vaginal insert, one was pregnant, and one was found a foreign substance in the vagina, and 12 were suspicious of vaginal infiltration by smooth acceptance of vaginal examination. And I have not much time, and I have an NPO Chiba Support Center for Sexual Assault. The activity is different from medical examination, but sometimes recently many children come to our support center because of the third party infiltrate sexually. So I think our activity should be some cooperation. And result of our medical examination or suspected sexual abuse, the conclusion is the system to protect child sexual abuse victims started very slow, but is gradually progressing in Japan. The situation of child sexual abuse victims we examined with local child guidance center resemble those of nationwide survey of Japanese child guidance center. Due to limitation of the capacity and the shortness of workforce, child guidance center in Japan only do prompt give protection to sexual abused children. Our medical examination also need more skill to get the physical evidence for the victim abuse by the third party. At least we could give an assurance to victims your health is found perfect by the complete medical examination, though you got the abuse. About the protection, that's right. The Child Guidance Center rarely has prosecuted the assailant, except when the victim or the family member wanted to do it. Because as other sexual assault cases, the process of prosecution often hurts the victims, and the accused not necessarily get a guilty judgment. The Child Guidance Center rather make effort to give the child a safe environment from the assailant and also psychosomatic health. However, as the new sexual crime law clearly sentences, as mentioned before, child sexual abuse is a more serious crime because it is done by the custodian. Therefore, the Child Guidance Center, as well as other child welfare systems, should prosecution the custodian of the assailant more active. Thank you very much.